Hello, friends, it's Mike Williams. As promised, here is my interpretation of the movie Yesterday and why I believe it's a Paul is Dead movie. Without the backdrop of the Paul is Dead conspiracy, the movie, in my opinion, is not very interesting. However, having the background makes for some interesting viewing. As I've mentioned a number of times, Disclosure has various components, with memoirs representing the beginning of the disclosure process. The audiobook where George Martin's son Gregory Martin did the voiceover is another clue. Other disclosure vehicles will come in the form of interviews where Billy masterfully speaks, along with online articles where Billy talks about the Beatles, especially strange stories like Billy masturbating with Lennon, going to gay bars, and having trouble remembering his true relationship with John because he fell prey to the media's false depictions of their relationship, which he claims overrode his memory. These odd stories represent an alchemical process within the occult, where the old ways and beliefs must be destroyed in order for the phoenix or Lucifer to rise from the ashes. In the future, Disclosure could very well include documentaries, more movies, and I'm sure at least one more memoirs update. I understand there's a major project underway that will be released after Billy passes. In what form that project will come, I don't know. As with all of my presentations, this discussion is intended for those who are well versed in the McCartney conspiracy. If you are new to the topic, I recommend watching my previous interviews and presentations in order to get up to speed. If you are a troll or in deep denial and this topic angers you, it's best to move on and find a safe place. Those attempting to leave non-value add comments will be permanently blocked from the channel. And with that, let's get started. Here's a press release from the movie. Jack Mallock is a struggling singer-songwriter in an English seaside town whose dreams of fame are rapidly fading despite the fierce devotion and support of his childhood best friend, Ellie. After a freak bus accident during a mysterious global blackout, Jack wakes up to discover that the Beatles never existed. Performing songs by the greatest band in history to a world that has never heard them, Jack becomes an overnight sensation with a little help from his agent. And now my observations and analysis. Although Yesterday was officially released on June 28, 2019, the film had its world premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival on May 4th of this year. 5 + 4 = 9. Billy received the Companion of Honor from Buckingham Palace exactly 1 year prior to the film's debut, on May 4th, 2018. A local premiere of the film took place at the Gorleston Palace Cinema on June 21st of this year. 6 + 2 + 1 = 9. The number 9 represents biological Paul, and Billy invokes the number when playing the McCartney character. Himesh Patel in the main role as Jack Mallock represents Eastern religions, and as we know, the Beatles went to India to introduce the world to Eastern religious influences. The Beatles parody band The Ruddles portrayed their Harrison character Stig O'Hara as an Indian, and one of Crowley's influences was Eastern mysticism. Ed Sheeran, who plays himself in the movie, is a card-carrying member of the Pyramid of Power. He has his MBE, he's a singer, songwriter, record producer, guitarist, and actor, all by the age of 28. Go figure. Jack's girlfriend in the movie is Ellie. Ellie represents the number 11, which is a master number in numerology and Freemasonry. In the Netflix series Stranger Things, the main character is Elle, which is short for 11. The numbers 9 and 11, or 9/11, is symbolically displayed throughout the film. And as Richard Balducci has taught us, 9/11 is a representation of Baphomet. The inclusion of Beatles songs means Apple, Billy, and the estates of Lennon and Harrison agreed to the movie, along with Ringo Starr. There is a scene where Ed Sheeran is in Jack Mallock's kitchen, and Ed is wearing a shirt with the word hoax on it. In the movie, there are two characters who remember the old reality where the Beatles existed, and they speak to Jack. They do not vilify Jack for being an imposter, but thank him for bringing the music into the alternate reality. The hidden message could be, the music is more important than the deception. In other words, Billy playing Paul is necessary in order to continue to enlighten the world with Beatle music. Bio Paul represents the old reality, and Billy is the new or alternate reality. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the movie has Mandela effect written all over it. Jack's leap from struggling artist to superstar occurs when he's approached by a cutthroat manager who takes control of his career. The manager is symbolizing how the music industry is completely controlled. To be rich and famous, Jack must declare his desire in no uncertain terms and drink from the chalice. The chalice represents a ritual. After agreeing, Jack meets with the producer in a room full of staff in a scene replete with black and white Masonic symbolism representing duality. Then Jack's career takes off. Later in the movie, Jack finds John Lennon, where Lennon is living a quiet life on a farm. He is not a musician in the alternate reality. The scenery where Lennon resides is reminiscent of Billy's farm in Scotland. I found that to be very interesting. The Lennon character tells Jack to tell the truth in order to have happiness. Jack discloses the truth at Wembley before a massive crowd. He tells them he is not who they think he is. There is momentary disbelief by the crowd and then applause as Jack declares his love on stage for Ellie, or the master number 11. Jack is then free of the shackles he created, just as Billy believes he will be once full disclosure takes place. And now I'll take you through the correlations that I observed between Jack, Paul, and Billy. I've bolded out key words so that we can make the connection. Jack is a struggling artist trying to make the big time. Billy was an unknown session musician trying to make the big time. Jack is in a bicycle accident where he's hit by a bus. Paul was injured in a moped accident. Billy tells us Paul died in a car crash. Jack wakes up after the accident with his head bandaged and missing a front tooth. Paul cracked a tooth as a result of the moped accident. Billy had head bandages due to plastic surgery. Jack wakes up in an alternate reality where there are no Beatles. Paul's death could have ended the Beatles. The Beatles would have ceased to exist. Billy creates a new or alternate reality where he took on the Paul character. Jack introduces the Beatles music into the alternate reality. Billy introduces the world to a new Beatles with a new sound via Sgt. Pepper, a sound that didn't exist in the Bio-Paul reality. Jack cannot make it big without a controller. The Beatles would never have achieved fame and fortune without Tavistock. Billy makes it big after being groomed and tapped by the Illuminati to replace biological Paul. Jack must declare his intent or his will and drink from the chalice to achieve fame. This is the ritual. Per memoirs, Paul and John entered into a satanic pact in 1962, giving their lives for the fame and fortune of the Beatles, what Billy refers to as death for success. Billy is an occultist, a Crowley acolyte, and manifested his reality by imposing his will, do as thou wilt. In the film, Jack is told he will be a messiah. Biological Paul is a graven Christ figure who died and rose again or was resurrected via Billy. In the documentary The Winged Beetle, we hear John Lennon say, by the year 2000, Paul will be Jesus. Billy leads the cult of Paulism, which is a Luciferian spiritual movement. In the film, Jack is told by John Lennon to tell the truth. Billy is in the process of disclosing to reveal the truth. And to wrap things up, I'll leave you with this slide. There were 4 prominent songs in the movie. Yesterday, which is Bio-Paul's eulogy, Eleanor Rigby, which is about death, The Long and Winding Road is Billy singing about himself, and Obla-Di Obla-Da, which is about Billy's life. In Jack's room, he is working to remember the chords and lyrics to the Beatles songs. He uses post-it notes and sticks them to the wall. A post-it note with Revolution No. 9 written on it is prominently displayed on Jack's wall in the center of all the other songs. The problem is, Revolution No. 9 is not a song, it's a collage of sounds. 9 represents biological Paul. Therefore, Paul is at the center of the Beatles. McCartney has 9 letters. John wrote the song No. 9 Dream. Billy is all about the 9s when he's playing Paul, and all about the 6s when he is William. Yesterday is loaded up with Paul is Dead clues. So those were my observations and thoughts. I'm sure there are many other clues which we can scour once the movie is released on DVD. Please feel free to comment and let us know what you found in the movie. Before we head out, I will leave you with a brief clip from The Winged Beetle where John tells us Paul was Jesus, and then a song from my first album, Leaving Dystopia. Thanks for listening.
They burned their records and spit on their images. But before they burned the records, they had to buy them.
We meant more to kids than Jesus did. I was just saying it as a fact. I was using expressions on things that I just read.
The Passover plot speculates that the Bible is a hoax and that Jesus didn't die on the cross. Jesus survived, and in order to create a new religion with himself as the Messiah, he made people believe that he'd risen from the dead.
He said to me once that the children of 2000 will be listening to the Beatles.
By 2012, the masses will be where we are today, and Paul should be Jesus by then.